Hello, hello, everyone. Hopefully, it's working this time, not like last week where everything was burning on fire. Hi, hello. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Star Trek Bastet. If this is your first time joining us, hello and welcome. We are an actual play podcast that is role playing using the Star Trek Adventures rule set out of Modifius Entertainment. Now, don't stress too much if you haven't caught past sessions or if you're behind or whatever the case might be. You can usually enjoy most of my sessions without really needing to play catch up. But if you do want to play catch up, I've got VODs on YouTube and most of the popular podcast solutions. In terms of announcements this week, really the only big one is that those who don't know already, the Fallout RPG from Modifius dropped a few days ago, and I'm looking to possibly run a one-shot, two-shot, some kind of game of Fallout. And whenever that happens, I will be putting up an application link, and anyone who knows me knows I love my applications. So if you're interested in playing in a Fallout game, just look for an application link in the near future, probably on my Twitter. Um, I think that's really all the announcements I have at the top of the list. So let's just go around and have everyone introduce themselves, starting with Captain Kitty.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I am playing Commander Abasi, the Cation captain of the Bastet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nikhil, and I play Lieutenant Salim Alexio, and I'm a shapeshifter.
I'm Brian. I'm at Mind Over Brian on Twitch and on Twitter. Although on Twitch, I spell it with a 0. And I'm playing Lieutenant Commander now, Baylor Droxine, the first officer and erstwhile pilot of the, I almost said pirate, which would have been a whole different.
I don't know. Maybe you gave yourself
character.
a promotion.
Pilot of the Bastet.
Hello there. Hey, be Dare Wolf. No, I'm kidding. That's just, I don't know. That was really funny, Brian. All right, I'm Dare Wolf. I'm playing Lieutenant Kalos Cater. I am the ship's medical doctor, serving under the honorable and just Captain Kitty.
That's never going away.
No, that is your official character's name. Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew. I play Lieutenant Tyr Thavarin, a rather aggressive Benzite engineer / security officer.
Aggressive is one word for it. And then, hi, if you don't know me by now, I'm ELH the Game Master. And normally I'd run a cool little intro here, but apparently I misplaced the file, or at least OBS is throwing a fit. So we're just going to jump straight into the opening log, and it's not going to be a very long opening log. I believe, Tavarin, you have that tonight.
Might be a smidge longer than anticipated, but
okay.
Lieutenant Thavarin's log, supplemental. After an encounter with the Orb of Time, apparently sent to us by Captain Sisko and the wormhole aliens of Bajor who abducted him, the Bastet was directed to a temporal anomaly that may be responsible for the creation of the temporal wake that displaced us in time. At the center of this phenomenon, we located the heavily damaged timeship Relativity, which hails from the 29th century. Damage to its, hell if I know, has likely resulted in the creation of this aberrant temporal displacement, which necessitated the use of a shuttlecraft to transport our away team led by Commander Droxine to investigate the ship. Our initial search of the vessel revealed no survivors, though our efforts were hampered by a shifting honeycomb of chronometric fissures in the ship's sensor dampening technology. Initial assessments of the death toll on board the ship proved incorrect. There was a single survivor. A pattern was located inside the transporter pattern buffer, or the temporal equivalent thereof, and using a recursive feedback loop, they were able to preserve the individual. On rematerialization, an aged version of our own Lieutenant Rilleur, a captain, now appeared, and ordered us to flee the ship.
All right. You may, of course, have the one momentum, and additionally the one momentum from chat to start things off. And that is quite literally where we're going to resume things on the bridge of the U.S.S. Relativity. Now, for those who haven't seen Voyager, just a small little description here. So unlike the normal bridge of a starship, the Relativity Bridge is more or less a curve with 2 levels to it. The lower levels is for helm and tactical. The upper level is for the captain and for a large temporal transporter pad that's in the corner. And currently on that temporal transporter pad is indeed an aged up or more mature version of Relore, as stated in the log, a captain now, wearing a uniform that is not one you've ever seen before. If you had to guess, just based on the whole thematics, this is probably a 29th century uniform. It doesn't really have a color code, or if it does, you're not sure what it means, as Relore's uniform is white and black rather than, say, gold, red, or blue. And as she materializes on the pad, she grabs the nearest person, which I believe was Cater, and says, "Get us out of here.
Working on it, ma'am.
Work on it faster."
Yes, ma'am, sir. Right back. Oh,
Is anyone going to
thanks.
stop her or no?
Ooh, that was
You're
intense.
closest.
Take me out to dinner first. Yeesh. All right.
I follow orders, sir. I don't act of my own volition.
All right, everybody, let's get back in the shuttlecraft. Bring future Raylure.
Just call me Captain. It'll save a lot of headaches.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Help her up if she doesn't choke me.
Yeah, she'll gladly take your help, and then maybe do one of those like forced choke movements where she reaches out and does the motion with her hand, but nothing happens. Yeah, as you all are making a hasty retreat to the shuttle, Lieutenant Junior Grade V actually speaks up and says, "Sir, do you still want the logs, or?"
Yes. If you've got them, let's bring them.
And she kind of looks between Droxine and Captain Relure and says, okay, I don't really know who to believe here, but I'm going to need like another minute and a half. And she gets cut off by Relure and says, "Just take what you got. Shuttle now. Explain later." And V just kind of goes, "Okay, I'm going to go with the scary Relure." Anybody else?
Oh, that's, yeah. Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
All right. So, you all pile back into the shuttle and begin to pull away from the relativity. And what you realize is that it's a good thing you left when you did. Because not only does the relativity begin to implode, not explode, implode, but the glow of the temporal rift around the relativity, which necessitated you flying in on a shuttle to begin with, the temporal anomaly begins to... I hesitate to use the word paradox because it kind of is. It's both growing and shrinking at the same time. It's almost as if you were to take a black hole and throw it at another black hole, but at the same time turning it into a particle fountain, which probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the whole point of this anomaly. It's not supposed to make sense. But the good news is that you are able to steer away from this anomaly in your shuttlecraft, and it's a little bit bumpy. Like there's a few temporal eddies that you have to sort of surf in order to get back to the Bastet. But in general, it's not as bad as, say, crash landing on a planet.
Excellent.
Now the real question is, what do you tell the Bastet when you get ready to dock?
Well, didn't we already tell them that we had future Raylure here?
To my knowledge, no, you have not.
We did. No, wait. No, we just asked if she was on board. That's right. We didn't say anything. Oh, that's great.
Actually, I think we did. We said, "Don't come over here because there's another U that we just pulled out of the transporter."
Mm-hmm. Because I'm concerned about two timelines merging and then destroying each other.
All right. So yeah, with that in mind, I guess the operative question is, do you redock with the Bastet? Do you have a conversation with the captain before you hop on board? What's the play here?
Shuttlecraft to Bastet.
Abasi here, go ahead.
Well, we managed to vacate the scene, largely unfazed. However, we do still have the problem of a second Raylure aboard. Would you like to transport aboard? Do you want to risk bringing her aboard the Bastet? What's the play here, sir?
I think it might be a better idea to bring the shuttle back aboard. I don't know what's happening with these temporal eddies, but I'd rather everyone be in the same spot.
Aye, sir. Well then, requesting docking clearance.
You're cleared to dock?
And yeah, we sort of.
Alexio just quickly chimes in and is like, Captain, are we entirely certain that we haven't flown into a wish granting anomaly? Because have requested two Rinas on several occasions, and it appears that now it's being
So,
Junkrat's out.
Alexio, as Droxine kills the comm, you just feel a very steady hand on your shoulder. You look behind you. Captain Relore is just going, no.
I stand up very straight, like looking very distinguished, Captain Riller.
You're not going to win brownie points that way, buddy. But yeah, as that little comical scene plays out, we sort of go to the exterior and we see the shuttlecraft enter into the shuttle bay at the rear of the Bastet. And we sort of transition to maybe about 5-10 minutes later to everyone actually in the conference room, because I figure that's where everybody's going anyway. The only people who are not present at this meeting are Lieutenant Mir and Lieutenant Relure, who are both going to remain on the bridge for this one to monitor the temporal anomaly and make sure that there's a pilot at the helm in case things get pretty bad. But as everybody else filters into the conference room, what I would say is that for certain people, Cater in particular, you're feeling a little bit. I'm trying to think I have a good word to use here. It's not quite anxious. Anxiety maybe isn't the correct word, but it's something similar where it's almost a general unease or just a general, like, sort of butterflies in your stomach feeling.
Like when you're in the middle of the woods and you just know something's wrong. And
Exactly. That is actually the exact feeling I would go with
you
here.
feel like it's like there's something wrong about a place or a situation. Yeah. Okay.
Right, and it's one of those things where you just have no logical explanation for it, and I think that's perfect. You nailed the analogy I was going for. But yeah, as everybody takes a seat, Captain Relore looks to Commander Abassi and says, "Well, do you want the good news or the bad news first?"
Let's just get the bad news out of the way.
Right, bad news. This is the 8th time we've done this. This is the 8th time we've had this conversation. This is the 8th time that I'm pretty sure your warp core is going to explode in... Computer, what's the time? Computer reads off a time. Your warp core is going to explode in approximately an hour and 30 minutes, and there's nothing we can do about it, which means that we have an hour and 30 minutes to figure out how to prevent another temporal anomaly, which will necessitate the relativity coming back in time to stop it, then being sabotaged by a Cold War saboteur, which then necessitates a bootstrap paradox, etc., etc., etc. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Tavarin. Did I lose you in that?
No, you lost me at the warp core is going to explode. My warp core is not going to explode. I'm sorry. You have no idea about the meticulous maintenance that I put into effect on this ship's warp cores. All three of them. So whatever yarn you're spinning for us is clearly exactly that. Just I don't know, is there some kind of apt human expression for... Tamarochka, can you help me out here?
Tamarochka actually is looking at you very amused, Tavarin, and says, "Oh, they're your warp cores now. I was under the impression I was the one doing most of the maintenance. You were just saying, hey, Tamarochka, you have no problem with warp core C. Well, I think if we do this with warp core B... But I do echo sentiment. There's nothing wrong with warp core. I'm looking at diagnostic on pad now. There is no indication of there being anything related to a breach whatsoever." And Captain Relore says, yeah, that's because it's temporal in nature. Why don't you check the quantum signature? And it's going to be exactly, and she lists off a long series of numbers. And you can confirm that there are temporal fissures in the warp core.
Captain, I'd like to report that the warp core is going to destabilize and explode in approximately an hour. And
Which
yeah,
warp core?
All of them.
yes, every single one. I'm afraid that temporal anomalies and microfissures are opening up inside of all of the antimatter containment units.
Captain, is it the size of the explosion that causes the temporal rift, or is it something else?
Well, again, this is the 8th time I've had this conversation, so my apologies if I seem a little terse. Long story short, the initial event that spawned this was you coming to investigate the birth of the Nexus, the birth of whatever the hell birthed the Ion Storm, which put the Bastet back in time or forward in time, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Unfortunately, the event that spawned such a ion storm damages your warp core. And like all temporal explosions, they happen at different times, not the actual time it takes place, but either before or after the event. That event necessitates myself coming back through time to try and fix it. What happens then is the saboteur blows up the relativity's warp core in such a way that, all those temporal eddies outside you had to fly the shuttle through? That's because of the relativity blowing up through multiple areas of time, which unfortunately cascades your warp core from exploding, or actually causes it to explode. Yeah, you'd think after becoming a temporal officer I'd understand it, but sometimes I don't.
I have a this. I mean, listen, you've probably already heard this idea, so I'm just going to spin it out there real quick. If you already know the coordinates of your temporal transporter, couldn't we beam a couple of officers from our crew that are temporally stable to the relativity in the past and prevent the sabotage, which would then, since we're temporally
Objective.
that shouldn't cause a paradox, because our ability to affect the events of the past should be stable, right? Is anyone else following me on this one?
No, I am following, yes. And Rulor actually cracks a small smile, not a very large one, and says, well, you suggested that on loop 3, and we did try it. Problem there was that the relativity at the time has temporal shielding, which you can't just beam through. It prevents, well, to put it plainly, temporal shielding makes the relativity of the time temporally objective. So there was no way to get through the shielding. And before you say, oh, let's just disable the temporal shielding, we tried that on loop 4. Didn't go so well. In fact, I remember Alexio, I don't know what to call it, Alexio. You kind of turned purple and then stopped existing, which I'm pretty sure is a new temporal anomaly. So congrats. If we live through this, I'll write a paper about you.
That's the most romantic thing you've ever said.
Ugh. No, not now. Maybe after this is all fixed.
Well, why don't you just give us a summary of what we've tried so we can eliminate that?
I can do that. So, loop 1, we tried just blowing up the relativity. That didn't work. Loop 2, we tried fixing the relativity. That didn't work. Loop 3, we tried the beaming through time. That didn't work. In fact, it was pretty bad, actually. Loop 4, we tried going back to a time when the relativity didn't have temporal shielding. That resulted in a paradox which resolved itself by annihilating the timeline it was in, so we didn't get anywhere there. Loop 5, we tried to shore up the Bastet's containment fields. That worked for about another minute, and then it exploded anyway. Loop 6, we spent most of the time just chatting about possibilities, and we eventually just ran out of time and exploded. Loop 7, I believe we went and tried to obtain an attention of a Q, and she looks very pointedly at V. They were not very happy with V, so that didn't go so well. And then we're on loop 8, so that's where we stand.
Well, if it's a warp core reaction, why don't we just shut down the warp cores?
Well, you could try, but. And she looks very pointedly at Tamarochka. I think you know exactly why we can't do that. Tamarochka
Lieutenant,
just.
would you like to elaborate?
No, I have no idea what the fuck she's talking about. I have no. Hold on. She looks at a pad. Oh. Hey, Tavarin, you remember when I said that you needed to do maintenance on Corridor 18 of Section C?
Yes, I remember that distinctly.
You don't, okay. Brownie points have been lost, but case in point, apparently one of the APS junctures in that area is unstable. If we were to shut down the warp core, it would cause cascading power explosion. Easy to fix, but will take more time than we have.
Would it then be possible to separate the ship, isolating that section? We could at least allow two sections of the Bastet to endure.
Well, that is actually ironic because you remember how we turned the ship into three parts just to get this close to relativity? It was actually the act of becoming multi-vector assault mode which exacerbated problem.
Huh.
Great.
What if, and hear me out, we already tried to affect the past of the relativity. What if we took the Bastet into the past and shot ourselves out of the sky before we get here?
Let's
Or-
not try and shoot ourselves out of the sky.
Wait. Hear me out. What if instead of shooting ourselves out of the sky, we go back in time, we switch ships with our past selves, never bringing the Bastet from that time to here to have its warp core damaged? You know what? This is getting really complicated. Never mind.
How about this? Captain, you said that we've attempted to beam to a prior version of the relativity, correct?
That is correct.
What if we were to try and make a rendezvous with a previous version with the Bastet itself?
You would have to know where the relativity is at wherever you're trying to go. I just question how that would be different than what we've tried so far.
Well, we're not trying to beam through their temporal shielding. If we can make contact with them before all of this occurs, maybe we have a chance to do something different.
I see what you're saying. Normally, I would be okay with that, and I would be all for it. But again, there's the issue of the temporal shielding. When their temporal shielding is up, they might as well not exist. They are quite literally objective, more objective than you are, if that makes any sense. Oh, and in case anyone's wondering, we got another hour, 20 minutes. So just keeping everybody up to date.
Droxine's idea may have merit. I mean, would it be possible to go back in time? What, sir? Are you all right?
I just no. Please continue.
Well, it's certainly not killing our past selves. I mean, that's a fairly ridiculous idea. But is there any way that we could intervene in our own timeline despite our objective status, given that it's been somehow compromised by our encounter potentially with the fleet admiral? Could we go back in time and prevent ourselves from ever starting this loop by contacting our past selves?
And R'hllor thinks on that for a moment and says, theoretically, it's possible, but then you run into the problem of if you stop yourselves from coming into the loop to begin with, the loop doesn't happen, and therefore you never send that message back through time. I know, it's confusing, but really what I'm trying to get across here is that you all, since your, I guess, whatever, since the encounter with the Tidor, since your encounter with Fleet Admiral Ignitrix, your objectivity has been not shattered, but changed. We either need to get you objective again, and therefore immune to time nonsense, or we need to go back even further.
Sounds like we need temporal shielding.
Exactly. And that is one thing we haven't tried yet, is going back far enough to steal temporal shielding from the relativity.
But if we can't contact the relativity in the past because of the temporal shielding, how are we going to get back to a point where we can see it to steal the temporal shielding?
Do you know the construction date of the relativity?
I do, but I believe someone here has something to say. And you all see, as you all kind of turn to look at the other end of the table, V is kind of like raising one of her hands. It says, yeah, there's a really simple way to know where the relativity is if that's it exploding out there. If we throw red matter at it and create a black hole, it's going to draw in every single instance of the relativity. Remember that one report out of the Enterprise D where they encountered a fissure in time and just a billion enterprises were just popping into reality?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what we need to do here, I think.
Do we have red matter aboard the Bastet?
No, but I'm sure Captain Relore is going to tell us exactly where we can find some. Isn't that right, Captain? And Relore just kind of shrugs and says, I mean, there is a borderline Class M not too far from here. It shouldn't be all that hard to fly over, get to the decalithium, and turn it into red matter. It's possible.
Can we do it in an hour and 15 minutes?
If we leave right away, I think so.
Well, Captain?
If it's something that hasn't been tried yet, we might as well. Abasi to Lieutenant Relore.
Yes, sir. How's conversation with future me?
There is a Class M planet nearby. We need you to set course, maximum warp.
Maximum warp, aye. And you all look out of the conference room and see that the stars, there's a flash, and then you are traveling at warp speed.
Well,
Captain
is there anything?
Miller, I have one question. If we succeed here, what happens to you?
Well, if I'm on this ship when we fix it, I remain objective, and you have 2 copies of me, which I'm sure the Admiral will enjoy. But if I'm on the relativity when this is all fixed, I go back to being normal in the timeline. Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly nonsense. Just know that if I'm here, I stay here. If I'm on the relativity, everything gets fixed.
And I'm assuming you want to go home.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Good to keep in mind.
All right. Are there any other preparations that need to be made before we bring forth every iteration of the relativity?
And Verissa actually speaks up and says, I just have one question for you, Captain. This saboteur that you speak of, can you tell us more a bit about them? And Captain Relore almost looks at Verissa as if she's seeing her for the first time. And then Relore actually stands like bolting straight upright and motions at her hip where there's normally a phaser would be. And she says, oh, you're here. Captain, we need to lock this one up immediately behind the hardest shielding you have possible.
Abasi's gonna look between them. Why?
Because she, or at least someone masquerading as her, is who the saboteur was on the relativity.
Well, but I mean, if I understand the time travel right, and God willing, I do, I'm pretty sure that this Lieutenant Baresta is not the one that would have sabotaged the relativity. This is the past version of her. So locking her up now won't affect. And we need her. There's only 10 of us.
And likewise, it could have just been some kind of alternate universe duplicate or a shapeshifter or a neural parasite that was controlling her body. There are innumerable possible explanations. And another question that I have that I think is really rather salient is, did you not see her sitting next to you this entire time?
And actually, Relore looks a little concerned and says, "No. When I first came in here, the chair to my left was empty." Which, out of character, I will simply tell you, it was not. Verissa was sitting there.
Wait, is this the first time you've noticed Veressa in the crew of the Bastet?
Yeah, this is entirely new to me. This didn't happen on any of the other loops.
How many people do you see sitting at this table? Is it possible that there's somebody else that you are unaware of?
She looks very pointedly at everybody, and then she stops at Cater. "Oh, yeah, hey, the doctor's here. That's new too."
Abazi's going to turn to look towards Cater. Can you sense anything?
I'm gonna reach out and try to touch her mind. with
Oh
my
boy, here we go.
Telepathy.
All
Probably
right,
don't mind.
this is going to be a daring medicine.
Love it.
It is going to be a difficulty of 4.
Good.
I am going to say the complication range is a 17 to 20. You have 2 momentum, a hope, a wish, and a dream. Good luck.
I'm gonna. You know what I'm gonna do?
Mm.
This is what I'm gonna do. Spend that 2 momentum. I'm gonna give you 4 threat. I'm gonna roll all the dice.
Nice.
YOLO. 5d20, right?
Yep.
Let's go!
Shizno would be very pleased with you.
All right.
All right, hey, that's 5 successes. Let me
Let's
check that
go.
0 real quick, because that 0 might be a complication.
It
It is. It's a complication. So
Good.
you succeed, so you get 1 momentum back, and here's what's going to happen. Cater, when you reach out your mind towards future lore, you are able to confirm several things. The first is that she is being honest about everything, in that she firmly believes that your being here and Verissa's being here is entirely new to her. You also can confirm that everything she's been telling you is something she believes in earnest. So that's the good news. The bad news is that when you touch Relure's mind, there's almost a snapback effect. Like, almost if you were to take like a bunch of rubber bands and stretch them and continue to stretch them, eventually they're going to snap and hit your hand or your face or whatever. And that same sort of snapback is going to hit your mind in such a way that you are going to immediately suffer some stress damage as a result. So you're going to take 3 stress of damage as this psychic whiplash happens. And for everybody else, you just sort of see Cater like narrow his eyes, looking at Relore, and then he suddenly grabs his head as a very powerful nosebleed begins to drip from his left nostril.
Ah,
Doctor?
she's not lying, but fuck, that hurt. Oh man, where's my hypo spray? She's
And-
not lying. She thinks she's telling the truth. So I guess we could trust her, sir?
Does that usually happen when you use your telepathy, or
No, I don't know.
okay? Because I don't know about your general level of incompetence in that field either. So, could you elaborate possibly as to what caused this?
I'll get back to you. And Cater's going to stand up. He's going to go to the medical bay and start running scans.
Okay.
Keep us updated, Doctor.
As he runs out. And Relore just sort of watches Cater go and says, "Okay, so I guess that's one problem. Good thing handled. What are we doing about this one?" Pointing at Verissa. And Verissa just kind of looks at Relore and says, "I have no reason to either hurt you, the relativity, or anyone on this vessel. I believe this is a case of mistaken identity."
Yeah, I'm gonna have to side with Ress on this one, given that we've got Mr. Alexio here who can become Mrs. Alexio or anyone they so choose. I think we can pretty much give this Veressa a pass.
I'm not going to take any action against Lieutenant Verissa, even if you were dead set that she's the one who caused the sabotage. We have no reason to even consider that at this point.
The only thing I'm going to request is that you give me a phaser. And when it does happen, like I said it would, and we go to loop 9, I can say I tried to fix things.
So at that request, Abasi's going to take a quick look around the table, see if he can see a visual of what everyone else thinks to that request.
Tamarochka's kind of like, where she's just kind of shrugging. V is looking very determinedly at Verissa as if she's trying to like see past what Verissa's thinking. And then, I don't know, what is Tavarin, Alexio, and Droxine looking like?
Alexio is just like, But Captain Riller, aren't you a telepath? Can't you tell whether Lieutenant Verissa has any negative feelings towards us or you?
Well, I would answer that question if it didn't violate the Temporal Prime Directive. Also, why I can't see myself.
I wouldn't.
As frustrating as that is, I can respect your adherence to the letter of the law, although I'm not entirely certain how the Temporal Prime Directive applies based on your scanning of her mind. That would be a violation of her, I guess, mental integrity and autonomy, but Temporal Prime Directive, not so much.
My guess is that whether she's a telepath or not is the part that is the violation of the Temporal Prime Directive.
And Rulur doesn't say yes or no, but she kind of looks very pointedly at Droxine and goes, maybe.
May have something to do with the fact that she can see now. But, I mean, we both know that if Cater's going to fix this, it'll be at the expense of something else.
I'll take your request under consideration at the very least.
Well, that's better than loop 7 or 1 through 7. Maybe 8 will turn out better. And as we transition away from the lovely interior of the conference room, we're now going to go to the Bastet sickbay, where these people are not present, but Lieutenant Cater is. So, Cater, you run into sickbay, and where do you go from there?
I'm going to go straight to the medical bay, and
Okay.
I'm going to sit down and be like, computer full diagnostic, what the hell just happened to me? And I'm just going to lay down and let the computer start scanning me.
So, just to give you hopefully some momentum, go ahead and do me a reason medicine. And this is at a difficulty of 0. The ship will assist you with a sensors medicine.
You said reason medicine?
Correct.
You're the man. All right, awesome, cool. Medicine. We're going to do the 2d20s. Droxine, can I get your help? You gonna roll that ship?
Yeah, no help from the ship, unfortunately.
But no help.
All right, hey, that gets you 3 momentum.
There it is.
So the computer reports, Cater, that you have just basically suffered something akin to, I'm trying to remember the word for it. So you know in real life where people get the bends if they dive really deep and then come up too quickly?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Same idea, but on a temporal scale.
Oh, that is not good at all. Oh, man. Oh, that explains so much. What else would I know about this? Like, what are the implications? Like, what would I know?
Well, you know that if you were to read her mind again, it would continue to happen. But as you're querying the computer to get some more information, you hear something shatter in sickbay. And you look out from the sickbay or the biobed that you're on, and you don't see anybody else in sickbay, but you can confirm you heard something.
Computer, who else is in sickbay?
There is nobody else in sickbay.
All right. Cater's going to grab a hypo spray with something, I don't know, strong in it. He's going to grab a medical tricorder. I'm going to sneak out into there. Hello?
And I'd like you to roll me a insight and a security here. Difficulty of 1.
Do I have a focus? I got
If you
xenobiology,
have
emergency
awareness, infiltration,
sensor operations.
Nah, can't give you sensor operations here, unfortunately.
Composure. Give me something. Okay, that's fine.
Actually,
Don't you have a 1 in security, anyways?
I have a terrible security.
Hey, you get 2 successes. You actually get a momentum back.
Yes.
So, long story short, you are detecting another life sign on your tricorder. They are in your office.
My office. Bastards. How did they know? It's where I keep all my things. And I'm going to sprint over to the office.
Mm-hmm.
And then boop, 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 boop. And I'll go in, I'll be like, identify yourself! And I'll hold the hypo spray, my medical tricorder, like they're weapons, but they're not.
So you rush into your office with hypo spray at the ready, and what happens is you hear someone behind you, and they're going for a grapple.
No!
And I need you to now roll me a daring security opposed at difficulty of 1.
Oh, God.
And hand-to-hand combat or anything of the focus would apply.
No, what are you talking about? Crew, can I spend 2 momentum and give him a threat? Is that cool? Everybody good with
Sure.
that? I'm doing it. All right. I want to roll 4 dice.
All right.
No focus.
That's
Let's
actually
go!
pretty dang good, yeah.
Wow.
Can the arm go around me? And I'm like, no, you don't. And I hypo spray their arm. Can that be cool?
With a roll like that, yes. In fact, you are able to not only get out of the chokehold, but you are able to press the hypo spray into your assailant's arm, and they go limp immediately.
I'm gonna like grab them like a woman, like in one of those like romance novels. I'll like drape them down like elegantly.
Mm-hmm.
If I can. I don't know.
And when you do, you see that it's Lieutenant Verissa.
Well, son of a biscuit. That's not good. I would like to scan her really quick and see if she's temporally aligned with us or of a different temporal signature.
I'm going to say you get this as free. She is from a different quantum signature than you are.
I knew it. I freaking knew it. How much momentum did I get off that one? That last one?
You got 1 momentum, which I believe puts you at cap.
I think we're capped. Yeah. I was pretty sure we were capped. Okay. Doctor to the captain. This is the doctor.
Go ahead, Doctor.
Is Lieutenant Verissa still with you, sir?
She's still right here.
Well,
Why?
I've got the other one. So, yay me, sir.
Other one?
Yeah, there's another one. Remember, she was like, there was a bad one. I think I got her. I hypo sprayed her. She's really sleepy. She's gonna be out for a while. Like, I'm surprised she's. Oh, yeah, she's still breathing. We're fine.
Get her to the brig.
Well, we don't even know that this Verissa did. All right.
I'm going to spend 2 threat to create the complication that as you're mid-sentence looking at Verissa, there's the shimmer of a transporter beam as Verissa beams away. And what I would say is that it's not a Starfleet beam out. This definitely looks like, let's just say a Romulan beam out, if you get my meaning.
Ooh. Captain, she's gone, and she was beamed out. It kind of looked Romulan. So, what a twist.
Sensors. Is there another ship nearby?
Droxine, I'd like you to roll me a sensors security for the ship, for yourself, a reason security. And difficulty on this is going to be a 2.
All right, there's the ship. And sorry, I'm rolling a which security?
Reason security.
Reason.
And you already have the one success, so you just need to see one more.
I will spend just a single momentum to get a third dice.
All right.
I don't think any of those will count as focuses, unfortunately.
Hey, that's 3 successes overall, which means you get a momentum back. Yeah, in fact, if you hadn't been so quick on the draw and run a sensor sweep, you would have missed it. But there is a warbird that matches one you saw at the Enterprise C fight quite a long ago. Same temporal design, that this is a future warbird, and it is going to cloak and moving away from the Bastet.
Shields up, red alert.
And of course, everything goes to red alert. And as it does, I have the very important question to ask. Do you pursue the warbird, or do you continue on towards the planet which might have the decalithium?
Captain, if I may, I recommend that we pursue the warbird. We can gather more information in this time loop, and then Verissa, or whatever it is, can be stopped in the next one. We can give the information to future Relure, and then she can save ourselves. This temporal nonsense. We should pursue the warbird.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think our priority should be to get the decalithium, try and refine the red matter, and stop these loops first. Then we can deal with the warbird.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, outside, and just because I do have a map prepared in case you did decide, but outside we see the Bastet continuing on its main course as the temporal vessel sort of veers off to the side, almost at a 90-degree angle, and cloaks in a sort of shimmering field. But as the Bastet continues on for maybe about another 10, 20 minutes, you do eventually arrive in a new star system. And this is one that Matthew's going to recognize, but there's a big old Class O star with a single borderline Class M planet around it, which is noticeably marked by the fact that around the circumference of the planet, there is a large mountain range that is almost like a belt, I guess you would call it, but it's more or less the height of the Himalayas. So it's quite a sizable feature to this planet. And as the Bastet drops out of warp and Relure and Droxine steer her closer to the planet, Verissa, your Verissa anyway, turns and says, okay, so what do we do now, sir?
Get a planetary scan, see if we can determine the location of this decalithium.
Very important question I have to ask for those on the bridge. And yes, Matthew, I did see your message, so that has been noted. So would have Cater come up from sickbay at this point?
Oh, yeah.
And then if that is, once that handled, where would you have let future Allure go? Like, obviously she's staying away from herself, but would you have let her stay in the conference room? Would you have had her on the bridge? Let's talk about where she is in all this.
I would recommend we leave her in the conference room.
I see, with Lieutenant Relure at the helm, would future Relure even come out to the bridge?
I think she would, but she would hang back where Alexio normally lurks.
I mean, from a personal standpoint, that's a whole other kettle of fish. I don't need to hear any more of those cheesy pickup lines while we're trying to
See, I think that, at least Bossie's thoughts on it, if the future Relure doesn't have a problem actually being within the same space as her current iteration, he wouldn't see a reason not to allow her onto the bridge.
All right.
Yeah. And Alexio is sufficiently admonished to not try that anymore. I think his feelings have been hurt enough.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, well, now that we've established where everybody is, since Cater is on the bridge, Cater, if you want to give me a reason science, difficulty of 1, and the ship will assist you with a sensors science. No, there's
bam.
2 successes from the
We got
Bastet.
a bunch of floating momentum. Can we just give you all that floating momentum and just find as much as we need?
You could make a advantage, and yeah, I think I know where you're going with this advantage. So yes, you find decalithium very easily. The planet's core is almost 90% decalithium, and really all you have to do to get it out is drill a hole all the way down to the core and just sort of mine it.
Captain, I hesitate to bring this up, but I actually have background as a miner, so um, my family is sort of into mining. So if you'll allow me, I can probably uh, modulate the phasers such that we'll get a clean carve.
I have absolutely no knowledge in mining, so please take the lead on this.
If I may, Lieutenant Commander, your knowledge of tactical systems is somewhat limited, despite your familiarity with mining tools. Maybe you could lend me your expertise. I don't know if you'd be willing to step aside and let the obviously better man and better equipped officer handle this.
I mean, if you think that tactical phasers are going to be so different from mining phasers, I don't see any reason to question your expertise. So lead on, Mr. Tavarin. I'll lend you what expertise I can.
And just out of character, I don't want to step on your toes. So if you want to take the lead, go right
No,
ahead.
that's totally
In
fine.
character, he's an ass, but out of character, I don't want to be.
No, it's totally fine.
Okay.
Also, yes, I am noticing the same Genesis. Apparently, the red alert update didn't go through. I'll have to fix that during break. Anyway, this is going to be not an extent. Well, let me put it this way: you can either do an extended task, and I am keeping track of time here. You have about 45 minutes left before your warp cores go boom. So you can either do an extended task and take about 10, 15, 20 minutes, or you can do a single high difficulty roll, which if you fail, something goes wrong. So which would you rather do?
I will say that the captain and I are both built for extended tasks.
Well, sounds like a 20-minute extended task.
All right, you're going to be cutting it pretty close, but if you want to go for it, let's do it.
Well, what are the mechanics involved in the two?
So, if this is an extended task, every interval of time, or every 2 intervals, is going to be 10 minutes, which means you can spend 1 momentum to make your attempt be 1 interval of time or 5 minutes. So, I'm roughly anticipating you taking 2 to 3. So, conceivably, if you spent momentum each time, you could do this in 15 minutes. But if you're not spending momentum each time, that's 30 minutes, which doesn't get you back to the relativity in time.
What kind of role is it going to be for this extended task?
All right, so what I'm going to say is that you're only going to be able to get one source of an assist here. So I'll just lay out what everybody's assist would be. If it's the captain doing it, of course, it's a presence command from the captain. If Alexio is doing it, Alexio is going to be doing a control and a security. So actually, rather good stat for Alexio. Droxine, if you're doing it, since you have a background in mining, I would give you either insight or reason plus engineering or even con on this one. Cater, you're not really involved in this sort of thing, but I'll mention you just for the sake of it. You would be rolling a reason medicine or reason science on your part. Tavarin, you just have to do control security because you're just pushing button and making sure phaser goes where it needs to go. And if you want the ship assist, the ship would assist you with a weapons engineering.
I have a talent where I get to roll an additional d20 whenever using engineering or science in relation to geology, mining, or mine equipment. How does that stack up against Tavarin's
Well, I
being
get
built for?
augmented control, so a free success,
There
and
you go.
a free extra momentum using a bridge console, and one additional work on every effect rolled.
There you go. Sounds like you're the man to take the lead.
All right, well, let me show you what you're working with here. You're looking at a work track of 14, a magnitude of 4, a difficulty of 5 to start with, and a resistance of 2.
And for me, it was control security.
You got it. And then who would be assisting you is the question.
I'll leave that up to the others.
I think it should probably be Droxine since it was his suggestion.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So the real question becomes, if I make this a insight engineering, do I get to roll 2 dice as an assist because of my talent? That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, you'd only get the 1 die. Your talent would not give you additional.
Cool.
And I do need to know, before any dice hit the table, are you spending a momentum to make it 1 interval of time?
Yeah.
All right.
And sorry, the difficulty of the task was
Currently 5.
What I'm going to do then is I'll tap my momentum, or tap my determination rather.
Mm-hmm.
Live well and fully for those we've lost, in that I have been inspired by the sacrifice that was made by the individuals on the relativity, and I'm motivated, in fact, not just to live well for them, but to live in order to secure their lives and ensure that they don't have to give theirs up.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then I would have to give you 2 momentum to roll an extra die.
Correct.
So that I will do that. I'll also use augmented ability control. So that's 3 free successes and a control and security.
Mm-hmm.
3 dice. Shipboard tactical systems focus.
Would apply. All right, well, there's a complication on the board. Now let's see if Droxine adds to that complication range.
Just the 1. Hilariously, I don't think I have a focus for this.
Yeah, I think you just have the talent, which is interesting.
Yeah. It was a racial talent. They're fun.
All right, so that is 6 successes, which means you do get a momentum back. But there is a complication on the field, and I think I know what I want the complication to be. But let's see how much work you do before I throw any complications at you. So for you, Tavarin, that would be 6 challenge dice worth of work.
So I will spend my 1 free momentum from all fingers and thumbs to re-roll those 3 challenge dice, those 3 zeros.
Okay. You only get 1 more, unfortunately.
And then I'll spend the 1 momentum we got to remove the 2 resistance.
Okay.
So that would be 7 points of work with my in the nick of time.
All right. And that is very important, because during the first bit of work there, we sort of see Droxine and Tavarin sort of shouting at one another, modulating the phaser frequency, lining up the perfect spot to begin mining this decalithium in the first place. And it's a very quick job. It's quick, it's messy, it's in general, it's not something that any person under any sort of non-time constraint would put up with, but because of the time constraint, you're bypassing at least pages, if not books, of regulations to get this done in time. So you are able to begin boring a hole towards the core of the planet. But this is where the complication's going to come in, and I'm also going to spend to not only make it 1 complication, but 2. And the complication's going to be is that when you get past the crust of the planet down into the mantle, you begin to encounter further resistance. Resistance that, while Droxine can accommodate for, is going to mean your difficulty remains a 5. In addition, the second complication is that your next attempt at this must be 10 minutes. And if it's not 10 minutes, i.e. you spend to make it 5 minutes, you will incur an automatic complication. So you can still save time, but you risk a complication.
Tavarin, do you see this? It looks like there's a layer of shale that's shifting under the weight of the upper crust. I can compensate for it, but it's gonna take me a minute.
I'm actually quite glad that I've got you assisting me, Commander. I probably wouldn't have known how to deal with that appropriately. Thank you. Nonetheless, it is going to take us a good deal more time. We could try to modulate the frequency of the phasers in order to cut through it more effectively, but I'm not sure if that would actually further destabilize the tectonic plates.
Oof, it'd be risky. I'd have to have a better planetary survey to know whether that'll work. Captain, we can either go fast or we can go good. Safe, maybe. Safe is probably a better word than good.
Time is of the essence here. Just try and get it done.
Fast it is. I'll try and ride shotgun on those phaser modulations.
All right. So, again, just to be extra sure, you do have to spend the 1 momentum to make it an interval of 10. Or interval of 5, sorry. And then, yeah, difficulty 5 again.
Does anyone else want to take the lead on this because you have determination?
I can definitely take the lead on what you were doing, Tavarin. If Droxine would like to assist me.
Sure.
All right, so yeah, Alexio, be a control security on your part.
Yep, I'm gonna tap my determination. My instincts serve me well, and I'll just be like, Tavarin, I think you're overthinking this. You don't just watch me sort of go with the flow, and probably much to Tavarin's concern, I actually like close my eyes and start as I'm aiming and just letting listening to the beeps and bops of the
You've turned off your targeting computer, Alexio. Is everything all right?
to guide me. So I'm gonna be having my determination for the 2 free successes, and then I'll. I think we need to save our momentum for keeping the intervals low, so I won't buy an extra dice.
All right, well, it does mean I need to see at least a success from you and 2 successes from the assist, or any combination that gets you 5. But let's see what happens.
Nope.
So I would need to see 3 successes from you, Alexio, in order to succeed this.
Oh dear. All right. Well, the pressure is on.
Spend all the momentum and give him 1 threat.
Could also give me just 2 threat instead of the 2 momentum.
Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 threat because we really need to hang on to this momentum. So I'll give you 2 threat for the extra die.
All right, you're rolling 3d20 then. Well, let's see what happens.
30, 3d20.
Wow.
Wow.
Just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah. Wait,
that's 8 successes.
For you alone, I didn't do anything.
So me with my eyes closed, listening to the beeps and pops, is somehow doing like an incredible job.
Midway through, Droxine just takes his hands off the panel and turns to look at him like, what? How?
And I think the future Relore speaks up and says, I know you have a lot of questions, but trust me, this is his method. You never looked at him when he was modulating the shields. He does this every single time a tactical action happens.
Yeah, the computer makes noises when I'm doing it right and noises when I'm doing it wrong. You just have to listen very carefully.
Doctor, have you ever tested his Esper rating?
I'll get to that eventually. Let's get to the core, gents.
All right, well, Mr. Alexio, if you could roll me 6 challenge dice, please, to see how much work you get done.
Yep.
All right, that's 4 work, -2 from resistance right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to spend momentum to reroll zeros, take off the resistance?
Let's spend 2 momentum, 1 to reroll those 2 zeros, and 1 to get rid of the resistance.
All right, fair enough. And that is exactly what you need for another breakthrough, as you once again masterfully put Tavarin and Droxine to shame as you bore through the mantle of the planet down through almost to the core, which is probably not the right term, but details. What this does mean, though, and I will highlight this on stream, as long as you do 5 work on your next task of this, you will complete the extended task.
If we spend 2 momentum now, can we complete it now?
That was my question.
If you were to spend 2 momentum to complete the work track now, you would still have 1 magnitude remaining. So, important question is, for attempt number 3, who's taking the lead?
I think that Thavarin would be inclined to try to demonstrate that he has not lost to Alexio,
Mm-hmm.
but mechanically, if somebody else wants to take the lead, I'm perfectly happy with that out of character.
It might make sense for Droxine to take the lead since we're like so close to the core. This is where your expertise would be really useful.
Also, I hate to be the teller of tales, but are we not supposed to have engendered some more complication because we did do momentum?
I was
spend
waiting
make
to
it-
see if you were going to remember that. Yes. And you're not going to like this complication. In fact, you're going to hate me for it. Is that as you all are deciding what the hell to do, Relore takes the Type 1 phaser she was handed off by Tavarin and points it over at Varissa. And Mir says, "What the hell are you doing?" And everybody looks between Relore, future Relore, and Varissa. And when you look at Varissa, you see that she's got a Romulan pistol pointed at future Relore. And Varissa says, "Oh, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but c'est la vie." And that's where we're going to take our break because I'm an asshole. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, everybody. Stick around. All right, welcome back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, shit has hit the fan, and I don't mean, no, I do mean literally. Not only have the players been mining to get some decalithium to create a quantum singularity to, through machinations which will become apparent, acquire some temporal shielding by stealing it from a Wells class. It's turned out that apparently one of their trusted comrades, Lieutenant Varissa, might be a mole of some sort, specifically because she's pointing a Romulan disruptor at the future version of Relore, and Relore is pointing a Type 1 phaser at Varissa. And everybody is currently dealing with that, and time is still ticking.
Droxine tunes out the combat going on the bridge and tries to nudge the mining controls just far enough that we can complete this task.
And I think Varissa is going to spend 2 of threat to create the complication that her other hand pulls out another disruptor and points it at you, Droxine, and says, ah, 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 ah. And then Captain Rudlore is going to say, "See, Captain, I told you I should have just shot her then and there, but no, we never listen to the future selves, ever." Sorry, I'm a little facetious and angry right now.
I can tell.
Can I shoot her now? Please?
I think at this moment, Abbas is going to try and essentially leap from the center chair and just try and drive a fist right into Varissa.
Now, that is quite a sizable gap between your command chair and where Varissa is. So we'll handle it this way. Give me a fitness security, difficulty of 2. If you succeed, I will allow you to get to Varissa and then attempt a melee attack. If you fail, Varissa is going to get a shot with her disruptor at you before you get to her.
It's worth it because this, he feels, is his responsibility right now. He let this happen by not listening.
Mm-hmm.
The second her attention is diverted, Droxine will finish the button presses, risking being shot by the.
Fair enough. Yeah, we'll get.
And
There's an order of operations here. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I want to use one momentum to roll another die on this.
All right.
I don't suppose personal combat could be an applicable focus.
Once you get into melee, yes, but this is just covering distance A to B very quickly. All right, that is the 2 successes you need. So yeah, Abasi, you are able to cover the distance in such a short amount of time that Verissa does not get a shot off at you. But you now need to make what might be the most important fisticuffs roll of your career. This is going to be a daring security, difficulty of 1 opposed. And if you fail this, Verissa is going to be able to counterattack you. So, I'm going to tell you that I'm going to be spending 6 threat to give her 5 dice. Which actually leaves me with 2 threat if I'm keeping track appropriately.
I am going to tap one of my values. Be willing to do yourself what you ask of others.
Okay.
Again, this is my responsibility to take care of.
Okay.
Okay, I would like to argue that Cater can assist. Bear
Can you
with
tell me how?
All right, so I'm gonna reach out just instinctually because, like, I love Captain Kitty, and I'm gonna dive into Verissa's mind and just start flooding it with images of like just random ass stuff, like kitty cats jumping around, and just like distract her with like telepathically, just reach out and distract her.
So, if you will recall, one thing I always said about Verissa is that when you try to get a read from her, you never really could because she had some form of mental training. So, I'll let you attempt it.
Okay, yeah.
But again, there's an order of operations here. So,
Okay.
Cater, if you can pass me a daring medicine, difficulty of 3, I will then make a bossy at a difficulty of 0. So a bossy's roll will be the difficulty of 0 instead of difficulty of 1. So basically, you will create the advantage for him.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a shot. You
Also
said it was
remember-
daring and medicine.
You got it.
You also have cautious medicine, so if you spend 1 momentum, you could re-roll a die.
I'm gonna do that. I'm also going to spend a determination.
You would have
And
to
I'm
give
gonna-
me 2 momentum then for the 3rd die.
That's okay, because I already have 2 successes, so I may not spend a momentum because I want to save it for Captain Kitty. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap a determination. I am going to I'm going to tap my value, open to the adventures of space. Like this is adventure right now. This is adventure. It's pure in its purest form. It's glorious. And I'm then going to get the 2 free successes. And I think I'm just going to roll 2d20 and hope for the best. I would also say that I do have a focus because it's xenobiology, so I know how to like interact with the mind. Maybe. Come on.
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
I love you, ELH. You're the best GM ever. There it is. Boom! Let's go, Captain Kitty. You want some momentum? The doctor's got your fluffy tail. Let's go.
That is indeed 6 successes. So you get 3 momentum back. Cater. Maybe it's your exposure to future lore, but you're just feeling a bit invigorated, and you blow past Verissa's mental fortitude and begin flooding her mind with pictures of Captain Kitty.
Yeah, so it's me in her mind, and I'm like, "Welcome to Cat Town, motherfucker!" And then Captain Kitty pounces her. Yeah, that's great.
Would it be 5 momentum then for me to roll 4 dice?
If you're spending determination, yes.
Which I did, yes. So I'll give you the 5. Personal combat.
You make a great team, Captain Kitty.
All right, so that is 2 successes on your part, or 4 successes because of determination. If Verissa rolls 5 successes, she is going to get a counterattack here. And the only reason I didn't make this a macro is because I wanted it to be an experience. All right, so let's break that down. That 3 is 2. That 6 is 1. That 7 is 1. That 12 is not enough. So, with 4 successes only on the board. Abasi, please roll me your unarmed attack damage, which would be 4 in your instance.
And I also have mean right hook, so I have vicious 1.
That you do. Which is actually okay. Yeah, she's good on stress, but that is enough that as you literally clock her across the face, almost with a right hook, she goes pirouetting through the air, falling to the ground unconscious. From a blow that even Cater across the way, you know she probably has one hell of a concussion right now.
Even Cater knows.
Cater's going to be like, you should probably see a doctor. And I'm going to turn back to my console and ignore her.
Nice. Well, Droxine, now that that's been handled, you may attempt to continue mining.
All right, so if I use Insight Engineering,
Mm-hmm.
then I get an extra die because of Zenite and the Soul. If I tap my Determination, or my value, greatness can come from the humblest of origins. A mere miner's boy can save the universe by getting this red matter and stopping this temporal anomaly for the 2 free successes. So that gives me 3 dice without spending any momentum.
Now, I do need to know, are you going to give me threats so that it is only a 5-minute task?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Can I assist because I wasn't part of the scuffle?
You may certainly assist, yes.
All right.
However, composure as a focus, specifically because in this instance, I'm ignoring the scuffle and just doing the mining task.
I'll give it to you.
Bam.
That is 5 successes, which means you get a momentum back. And for
7
you,
because of my
all right, 7 successes. So that's actually 3 momentum back. And you're rolling me 5 challenge dice. Which, if you give me one of your momentum, you will complete the extended task.
For sure. Done and done.
All right. So, Droxine and Alexia working together as everybody else deals with Farissa. You are able to finally reach the core and beam however much decalithium you want aboard, which then comes the operative question, how much decalithium do you want? As a reminder, for those who maybe don't remember or have blocked out the Star Trek movie by J.J. Abrams, even a singular drop of red matter is enough to consume a supernova and or a planet. So how much decalithium do you want?
A vial full, 5 milligrams.
5 milligrams. Okay. That is a significant amount, but I'm sure we'll find a way for it. But yeah, you beam up 5 cc's of decalithium, which can be refined into red matter. And then I guess the question is, Abasi, what do you do once you've heard that chime from Alexio and Droxine that they've gotten what you need?
Set course back to the relativity.
Sir, should we move Varessa to the brig or figure out whether this is this even our Varessa?
And I think
get us back on course to the relativity, and we'll take care of this en route.
So past Relore or contemporary Relore works with Droxine and gets the ship going. Future Relore walks up to the side of Abasi and looks down at Varissa and says, so remember when I said that the whole Temporal Prime Directive kept me from saying some things?
Are you going to say things now?
Oh yeah, that was just a bluff. I didn't want her hearing.
What do you have?
Well, oh, sorry, one thing. Hey, pass me. Pretend you're not paying attention. Huh? What? Who are you? There you go. Good girl. So, long story short, if it wasn't this anomaly, this one here, and she kind of kicks at Varissa on the floor, This one here has been a plant since pretty much day one.
That explains her mental defenses when I couldn't read her mind, says Cater from across the room.
I mean, be that as it may, she's still stuck in the same anomaly that we're all stuck in.
Which is why she probably thought it was an operative time to kill two birds with one stone by blowing up the Bastet and securing her objectivity, thanks to her aides that are on the Romulan side of the temporal Cold War. Which, ironically enough, the Verissa you encountered, Mr. Cater, might have been a copy, variant of her. Hard to say. You said they beamed away before we were able to ask them questions, so we'll never know.
Tried to strangle me. Do we want to know? I mean, I kind of do, but never mind.
And I think at this point, Captain Rulor sort of aims the Type 1 phaser at the unconscious Verissa and says, well, Captain, unless you have a very good reason, I'm going to stop this little charade and make sure she doesn't get back up, because if you know her like I do, she's not going to stay down very long, and she's too much of a risk to just throw in the brig.
Absolutely not. We're not executing a prisoner.
And you would have that same prisoner break out of the brig at a crucial moment and stop this whole thing?
I have a bit more faith in our tactical officer than breaking out at an opportune time.
Thank you, Lieutenant Commander. And even if I weren't as competent as I am, the principle and regulation doesn't change on a whim, even of a 29th century captain. Ma'am.
Only a present security, difficulty of 3.
Oh, my presence is terrible. This is okay. Yeah, I have no focuses. I'll give you one momentum to try, but
Okay.
Is there anything that I could challenge as a value here? No. All right. No applicable focus.
Oh, hey, you guys just got a momentum from... oh, yep, I got evil too. Thanks, Nick. We got good and bad on the field now, so you do get another momentum.
That's 3 zeros.
That is indeed 3 zeros. So I think what happens, Tavarin, is you give your argument, and then Rulor just sort of looks at you and goes, yeah, sorry, no. Like, I totally get that you're doing the whole gung-ho, I'm the best security officer in Starfleet thing, but again, 8 loops. I'm intimately familiar with the things this thing can do.
At this point, I'm gonna come. I want to stand right in front of Captain Rulor, and I'm gonna say, if you want to shoot her, you're going to have to shoot me.
So I'm going to stand up. All this go on. I'm just going to walk over to Verissa. I'm going to break out a medical tricorder and a hypo spray.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I can't let you do this because I don't want her, and I'm going to point to our Rulor, to see you do this, because that's something she's going to have to live with.
You may now roll me a present security, and since you've basically created an advantage, it's a difficulty of 2 for you, Alexio. And we'll get to you in a moment, Cater.
Would diffuse the tension actually work here? Because I'm trying to convince someone to not.
Yeah. Diffuse the tension has never had a better moment in any of my
I'm going
games.
to spend our 2 momentum for another.
Damn right you are.
All right. And that is 5 successes. So,
Lord.
Let's see. Diffuse the tension gives you the additional die, so that is a total of 3 momentum, which brings you up to 5. And yeah, I think future Allure stares at you pretty hard for a moment, Alexio, and then she sort of sighs and lowers her arms and says, "You're lucky you're still cute when you argue like this."
I knew you still liked me.
Yeah, let's just say that if there wasn't for the actual temporal prime directive, you and I would be having words right now. But well, doctor, how's our patient?
Dead. I'll get up and walk back to my console.
Wait, you say she's dead?
I said she's dead. Yeah.
And I think everyone just goes, "Wait, what?"
She's dead. Don't worry about it. And goes back and goes to the console like nothing happened.
Captain, permission to put the doctor under arrest?
What did you do, Cater?
I took care of the problem, Captain. Obviously, future ruler couldn't do it in front of herself, and Verissa was a liability, so I took care of it.
Are you insane, man? You don't kill some.
I didn't kill her. The hypo spray did. It wasn't. What?
A hypospray is not an independently acting agent in this universe, Doctor. What are... Captain, if anyone should escort him to the brig and Verissa to sickbay, possibly for an autopsy, it should be me.
Future ruler, or Captain, ma'am, was she a liability? Was she something we had to worry about? Would she keep coming back and continuing to try and destroy us?
And it takes a moment for Captain Relore to answer, and she says, "Yes,
then I accept whatever you deem necessary, but I believe I did the right thing." And he'll present his arms, like if you're gonna put him in cuffs or something.
And this is the part where the GM says, "Well, I had notes." Whoosh.
Lieutenant Tavarin, escort Mr. Cater to the brig.
Yes,
I
sir.
don't resist. I follow him.
And if there's any officer that could help me with the body, we can bring it to sickbay.
I have a rough knowledge of medicine. We can transport Verissa to sickbay, and I'll see what I can do if there's anything I can do.
Mr. Droxine, Mr. Alexio, I want you to bring Verissa to sickbay, get her on one of the bio beds, set up a isolation field. If she's not actually dead, I don't want her being able to move.
Aye, sir.
Understood.
So just give me a few moments to set up this unexpected bit of development. Like, I thought I was just going to be able to vaporize her and you guys wouldn't have to do anything, but applauds to Wolf for taking of initiative here. I love the drama. All right, so Tavarin and Cater are not there. You all take the body to sickbay because you're currently en route back to the relativity. So, Droxine, Alexio, and the body of Verissa beam into sickbay. And Droxine and Alexio, tell me what you do from here. And I will say that, again, time is of the essence.
Mr. Alexio, if you set up the field, I'll see. Wait, do you have good medicine? Is your medicine any good?
No, I'm not trained for this, but there's no other choice, and I'll just desperately try and set up the field here.
I have the diagnostic bed run a diagnostic, a medical diagnostic.
All right. So the good news is that setting up the force field, running a diagnostic, all things that the biobed can actually take care of you. What you see is the following. She's not quite dead. She's not going to get up and do a jig anytime soon, but
she's only almost dead.
Yeah, she's feeling better. She feels happy, and then you hit her with the club, and Monty Python continues. What I'm going with this is I'm using real world analog here, like people on death row, and this is a little bit morbid, but it does have relevance.
Mm-hmm.
People on death row, when they get lethal injection, there is sort of a time where even after the injection has happened, if you push the right amount of chemicals to the right place, they can be brought back. So that's the same sort of process we have here, where if you act quickly and do so in a skillful enough manner, you can indeed save Verissa.
Her life should probably not rely on my medicine of 2, but all right, here we go.
All right.
So I get the computer to tell me what the compound is that the doctor injected her with, so that we can we can try and counter it.
Okay,
While
what I would say is if you want that information, you either have to roll for it or give me your 2 momentum or 2 threat for that information. But what I will tell you is without this information, it's a difficulty 5 roll. With this information, it's a difficulty of 4.
I will give you the 2 momentum.
Okay. So what
Is
you
what I will
know,
do.
thanks to what Wolf has messaged me, what she was injected with was a virus, a nanovirus that basically shut down all of her organs in rapid succession. So morbid as it is, it was a quick death, one without pain, but it does make it very difficult to counteract, which is going to mean a difficulty of 4 in this
What
instance.
didn't you say? You said nanomachines, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, nanovirus, which makes
Yeah.
this a engineering task, because I can just detonate an EM pulse that'll deactivate the nanomachines without affecting her actual internal organs, and then we can actually bring her back just by resuscitating those organs that are already affected.
Well, with that enough technobabble and medical babble, sure. I'll let you roll engineering on this part.
Which only gives me 1 extra point. All right.
And yeah,
a
Alexio can assist with probably the same. So probably daring and medicine or daring and engineering.
All right. I will try. My daring isn't great, but my engineering is okay.
Oof. I'm going to challenge my I'm not even supposed to be here today,
Mhm.
as finally feeling like I might be in the right place. I might be where I'm supposed to be, even if it's not where I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
As to get the extra the extra determination to spend on the 2 automatic successes.
Okay.
And then can I give you 2 threat for a 3rd dice?
You could.
And again, composure as a
I'll give it to you.
focus.
All right, so that is 5, 7 successes. You get 3 momentum back. It's a good thing she's behind that field, because the moment you resuscitate her, she takes in a big shuddering breath, kind of a and she jolts upright, eyes wide, and she immediately tries to grapple one of you, but is rebuffed by the isolation field.
We
Oh,
just
okay.
saved your life, so try and be polite from now on.
And she doesn't say anything. She just sort of settles back down on the bed and glares daggers at all of you, but mostly Druxine.
But let's not. I mean, I don't know why you're mad at me.
Well, now that you've done that, let's actually go back up to the bridge before you call that in, because I think there's some interesting roleplay to be had there. So at this point, Alexio is not there and Droxine is not there. So let me boop. Boop. So yeah, it's the only people on the bridge are Mir, Relure, Abasi, and V. And Abasi, are you what are you doing while your officers are doing their thing?
Probably pacing back and forth in front of the command chair now.
Okay. And as you do so, Future Allure kind of stays a little bit away from herself, kind of moves around the back of the bar behind your chair, and sort of leans over the railing and goes, Captain, I can't really speak for what your doctor just did, but one way or another you were going to have to make this decision. The doctor just took that option on himself.
And once again, it's another member of my crew deciding to act upon their own volition instead of getting through the proper chain of command.
Oh, no, I don't doubt you probably are going to have one hell of a court martial on your hand, but it would have been a lot less messy if I'd done it. At least then you could have put the blame on me.
Perhaps, but what's done is done now.
Indeed. Hey, past me, how long until we're at the relativity? And future Relore doesn't get a response. In fact, you all sort of look at past Relore or current Relore, and you see that she's actually crying. Like, she can't see, obviously, she's still blind, but there are actual tears coming from her eyes right now. And she kind of looks around with those vacant eyes as she turns in her chair and goes, "Is this what I become, a cold-blooded killer? The hell happened to me? This isn't right. None of this is right."
Abasi is going to look around the bridge, gonna look towards V since she is the ship's counselor. Kind of look like, do you know what to do?
And I think V takes that sign of you looking over for to go over to Relore and say, "Look, I could do the whole spiel about approximate knowledge, but what I know is this, Relore. You make your own choices. That Relore over there made her choices. And for all we know, once we fix all this, maybe that Relore doesn't exist anymore. But you need to stay focused. We need you to stay focused. You are the only capable pilot on this bridge right now. Until Droxine comes back, we need you at the helm. We need you capable of doing your duty. Now, I know it hurts. I know you're in pain, but we need you to do this. Can you do that for me?" And I need someone, literally anyone, to take V's sheet, and she is rolling a presence medicine difficulty of 3.
I can do it. Presence medicine.
Mm-hmm. And she can spend momentum if you want to.
Do we want her to spend momentum? Let's have her spend 1, I think.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
Okay. And she always
Does
has
she
a
have
focus.
Oh, she always has a focus.
She always
That's
has a
fair. All right.
Yeah, unfortunately, with 2 successes, what that's going to mean is I think current Relore is going to shut down. Like, she's still there, but based on her more vacant than usual expression, she's kind of gone a little bit catatonic, which causes V to sigh, rub the back of her head, and stand up and turn to Abasi and says, "Yeah, this is going to take a while, Captain. Do you want me to take her down to sickbay, or I don't know what to do at this point? I mean, obviously, I can maybe fix what's going on with her, but like I said, that's going to take more time than we have."
I don't know if taking her down to sick bay where we brought Verissa would be the best of ideas right now. Just put her somewhere quiet off the bridge. Go ahead, put her in my ready room if you feel that would be best.
That was actually where I was going to go with that. Come on, Ruler, let's come on. And kind of slips an arm underneath her armpit and starts to steer Relore to the ready room, which at this point leaves the only people on the bridge as Lieutenant Mir, future Relore, and Abasi.
I'd say as the two are walking off, Abasi is going to turn towards Captain Relore and then look towards the con. Done much flying lately?
Enough. It'll have to do. And she actually vaults over the railing and jumps to take the place of where her past self was and sits down, cracks her neck, cracks her knuckles, and says, "All right, let's see if I remember how to fly this type of ship." Uh-huh. Uh-huh. All right, yeah, I think I've got control of it. Guess I forget, Mir, are you good at the tactical? And Mir turns and says, not as great as Tavarin or Alexio, no. Right, I guess that means Abasi, you're kind of at the tactical station then, I guess.
I'll do what I can with it, but like Mir, I don't quite think I'm up to Alexio or Tavarin's skills with it.
Well, we're going to have to make do because we're making contact with the singularity in 5 minutes.
Abasi's gonna walk over to the tactical station. All right, bring us in. I'll be ready.
All right. So, because it's dramatically appropriate, I have to ask a player question. This isn't me ending the session early, though, just before you're worried. My question is, at this point, would Droxine and Alexio have called up to the bridge to report that they've resuscitated?
Yep, I think so.
Then, Abasa, you get a chirp on your communicator.
Go ahead.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Of course I am. Captain, we've managed to resuscitate Varessa. She's not super happy with us about it, oddly, but she is alive. So it'll be attempted murder rather than just flat out murder.
Lieutenant Alexio, I want you to stand guard there. Make sure she isn't moving from that biobed.
Yes, Captain. But might I ask, how is our Renard doing?
Not well.
I figured as much. Thank you for telling me.
Droxine, if you feel it's okay to leave Alexio there, I want you to come back to the bridge.
Aye, sir.
And I think probably about minute 3 is when Droxine walks back onto the bridge. And Future Allure looks over and says, you want to take con, and then I can take tactical, and Abasi can take science, or how do we want to do this?
I mean, I'll take con, for sure.
All right. So she hops up and says, Captain, which station you want me at?
So I'm even worse at science than I am with tactical.
Science it is. She hops over. And yeah, Droxine, at the moment, you come back in range on the view screen to see the imploding, exploding relativity.
All right, does anybody remember what this plan's supposed to look like? Am I just supposed to put a drop of this stuff into the center of this explosion?
Yeah, that's all we have to do is we have to transport a drop of this red matter, this decalithium that has been processed. You did process it, right? Oh, God, this is going to be loop 9. Son of a...
I'm going to spend 2 momentum to create the advantage that Tamarochka took care of that.
I think that's the perfect spend, too, where everybody's cursing and then there's a chime and says, Tamarochka the bridge, I have finally finished refining to red matter. We are ready to go. And Revor just looks at you, Abasi, and says, I love that woman. Like, not even non-platonically, I would legitimately have her children at this point. I'm sorry, is Future Relore hitting on me? I am, yes. Just get the red matter to a transporter. Okay, on it.
I presume we're going to have to take it in to the fault with a shuttle, right? I mean, the transporters didn't work to get there.
Well, if we transported it in such a way that... timey-wimey bullshit.
Okay.
Long story short, we can either, out of character, we can either high difficulty transport roll, or you can permanently sacrifice one of your shuttles, which you only have 2 of by my count.
We still have 3.
3?
2
So
type
you would
9s
be
and
a
a
2
type
then.
10, I think? Or 1 type 9 and 2 type 10s.
2 type 9s and a type 5.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right. So you could sacrifice a shuttle if you wanted to, but otherwise it's a transporter task.
Yeah, let's just transport it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and transport it.
All right. So, what's going to happen then is Relore is going to take over transport duties, and I'm not going to do a roll for it because it's thematically appropriate. She knows what she's doing. On the view screen, what you see is that the version of the relativity that is currently imploding, exploding, it is enveloped by a swirling dark maw that consumes the singularity. And as it does so, a myriad of relativities begin popping into existence like boop, 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 almost like flashing lights as a billion, not a billion, but a bunch of relativities begin to pop into existence. And Mir reports, sir, they're all attempting to fix this singularity problem. Do we need to do anything? And then Future Ruler says, no, 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 we need this confusion. I'm currently attempting to beam away temporal shielding matrices. We got it. And moment too soon, what happens is, Droxine, you notice a large power flow coming from the shield array, coming from pretty much every system to a new system. And as this happens, all the relativities go away, all the temporal anomalies go away, the singularity of the original relativity goes away, Future Allure remains where she is. And Future Allure says, well, good news is we fixed it. No loop 9, but I'm here now.
We could transport you to somewhere else, right, Captain?
To where there's nothing else around us now.
Well, welcome aboard, Commodore.
Thank you, I guess. And because I think this is an excellent final scene, I don't really have a brig, so let's just reuse the holodeck for this because it's basically the same thing. Where Tavarin, I think you have some choice words for a certain doctor. So why don't we play that out as sort of our last scene for the evening?
Maybe we could go to theater of mind because I think this conversation would have started as he was escorting the doctor to the brig. Would that work?
That works even better. Sure.
Okay.
And you guys can start as I obviously do all the...
So as they get into the turbolift, Thavarin has his hand on his hip, the phaser at his hip, and he's just glaring daggers at the doctor. Doctor, it was a ruse, right?
Why would it be a ruse, Tavarin?
It was some kind of ill-conceived attempt at diffusing tensions, at convincing the future ruler that you had killed her, but she can be resuscitated, right?
I mean, theoretically, but it wasn't my intent. What? Why do you look surprised, Tavarin? We all have to make choices to keep each other safe. We're all we have, and she was a threat. I still trust our new captain. I don't know, time travel's weird, but she knew what needed to be done, and you guys were stopping her, so I took care of it. It's the only way we're going to survive this.
I was about to call you doctor, but you're not. How could you even consider yourself such? You're a disgrace to that uniform.
You're allowed to have your opinions, and I will accept whatever the captain deems necessary, but I know what I did was the right course of action.
Doctor, I'm a security officer. Tamaroshka is the better engineer. I know that. I might be called to lay down my life in defense of the Federation, my fellow officers, or the principles that undergird it. If we have to die in defense of those principles, then that's a good death. You
Your
think
point?
that our lives are more important than what's right. You think that expediency is more important than, well, than our values. It's abhorrent.
We'll just have to agree to disagree then. And if there's nothing else, I'd just like you to take me to the break, please.
Well, Doctor, I thought that I knew you, but I guess I didn't.
We're all full of surprises, Tavarn. All of us.
And the Varn would simply escort him to the break.
And I think we end on a somber note as the camera pulls out of the corridors of the Bastet to show the Bastet just sort of floating on by. And yeah, that's where we're gonna end tonight's session. Oh, that was interesting. That was really interesting. Yeah. Don't know where we're gonna go from here, but that was really interesting. I enjoyed the added drama.
Sometimes I just want to throw a wrench in there. I don't know.
I think you
Felt good.
did.
Yeah,
Just
I
a
mean,
little.
more than a wrench. I don't.
No, but
Yeah.
I think it fit. Like I think based on what we've seen of Cater's character, it makes sense. So
Yeah,
no,
I
I
wasn't
don't.
trying to just be, like contradictory or to cause drama for the sake of drama, but I was
Right.
like, in that moment, I was like, what would Cater do? He's like, he touched R'hllor's mind, right?
Mhm.
So in my mind, as the character, as the player, I was like, he trusts her implicitly, and that's
Mhm.
why he asked what he asked. It was, is she going to always be a threat? Well, we are already stuck in a time loop. Why would we allow that to continue? It's like this is so logical. Like, I'll just take care of it. And then R'hllor doesn't, like, of course I'm the one that has to do it. Like, I'll make it painless and boop, done.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
And
We'll
Needs
see what
of the
happens.
many, etc., etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
it's also a lovely reflection of the evolution of the character from in response to some of his failures to actually heal R'hllor or the like. So that sense of impotence comes to the fore in a desire to protect the crew. It's a very well substantiated character point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And of course,
I think about things sometimes.
me as the GM is figuring out. All right, does this mean we spend next session doing a court martial or?
We'll find out.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that one. But yeah, no, I think it was a really good session. I think everyone had a good moment to shine, especially certain people using the Force. Still can't get over that.
Fantastic.
Oh, Lord. All right, well, Twitch, stick around. YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Thank you so much for tuning in, YouTube. We'll see you later.